Marco, welcome to European Aluminium.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. I've been wanting to talk to you personally. I haven't seen you in a little while. I want to congratulate you on the Antwerp Declaration and the work around it. Best piece of public affairs work I've seen in a long time.
Thanks. It's been an adventure. So it's been a clear adventure. We started small, it became bigger, it's become a snowball and an avalanche. I think all of Brussels has united around the Antwerp Declaration, and we've made it to the European Council text. So from 6 months of work to where we are right now, competitiveness is back, and that's good news.
And the reason it's such a success, I think, is not only because it's good public affairs, but the fundamental idea is so good and so important. We need a Europe that can continue to produce things for our security, for our economic welfare, and for our social welfare. It's hugely important.
We were talking with our CEOs to the Commission about the lack of business case in Europe. We've always said we support the Green Deal, so the industrial deals to implement or complement the Green Deal, but we're also clear that by 2030 things need to be done and we don't have much time left. So that's why the initiative.
One of the big drivers has obviously been the problems and challenges that Europe's been through with energy the last couple of years. For the aluminium industry, it's been very, very difficult. We've lost half of our primary production capacity over the last 3-4 years. And obviously that's not a trend we'd like to see continue. How have you experienced things in chemicals?
Same, especially after, of course, the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines fell out. The German members have had a really rough time. Some others maybe a bit better, but energy costs in general are way too high compared to the US. What we saw with Antwerp, if you take the 2040 impact assessment, is that we need to double electricity production in Europe. And otherwise, we're not even going to make the 2040 target. So that was the driver of Antwerp as well. Yeah. You need to double electricity production. Investments need to be 6 times historic annual average in a time that demand is down and production is slowing down, which shows you the perfect storm we need to solve.
And that brings us to the ongoing work that we're doing, moving the Antwerp dialogues forward. We have an ongoing process on competitiveness and electrification. How important do you see electrification in your industry?
Whatever analysis we make, electrification is one of the key measures, which also is not in the money right now. That's what our companies tell us. The same that you see hydrogen, then again using the same electricity is not in the money today. So the next commission needs to start with the direct electrification plan for industry, period. That's a clear demand.
And that's what's so important here is not just the original enthusiasm, the initial enthusiasm. What really matters here is translating all of this energy and focus into a policy framework that works.
Yes, we split the world a bit cheeky in BC and AD, before the CRO and after the declaration. Yeah. But after the declaration, we started the Antwerp dialogues, and they're really meant to come to a moment in October when you're in the elevator, President von der Leyen shows up and says, what do you want? We need to have those 5 points ready. And that's what we're working at. And you see the dialogues are really high level, but also get to the 5 points on each of the topics we're addressing.
And I think it's really encouraging to see how many different sectors with, in principle, different interests or areas of emphasis who are able to get around one table and come to an agreement on a shared set of priorities.
25 sectors as we speak, and it's probably more because we're no longer marking sectors, we're just marking signatories, but it's all across the board that people say we need to focus on competitiveness. And you see the Brussels politicians, but even national throughout Europe, people have picked it up.
What's important to me is that this doesn't end up being just a brief moment in time, but the start of something fundamentally different. You have any big hopes for the coming cycle?
I think we do. If you look at the Council conclusions now, the COMP Council conclusions, the EU strategic agenda, the need for more electricity production and infrastructure is clearly mentioned. And that means, at least as we see it, that's the guidance for the next Commission to start working. So we look forward not only to more dialogues, to get just the conclusions a bit sharper, but then to the incoming Commissioner having to start on day one, solving these kind of issues and getting a program up and running. And we have a few more months to go, but we believe that's going to happen.
It's going to be a really exciting few years. I'm looking forward to working together. Thanks a lot.